going to show you how to change your strings, either on a bass or guitar, and fix your knob. Might be loose. So the first thing you'll need is a pair of pliers, something to cut your strings with. You'll need a screwdriver, a Phillips head. You'll need that for the knob. And a pair of strings, obviously. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Elixir nickel-plated steel strings. These are just the strings that I've used the most, and they actually work the best for me. So I'm gonna use those. So I'm gonna show you the way I do it. The first thing you want to do is loosen the strings. If you're not going to be cleaning it, if you don't want to worry about that part, I'm going to clean it when I take the strings off. But if you are not going to clean it, I recommend just take one string off at a time and do it that way. That way you don't remove so much of the tension from the actual neck itself, and the tension rod doesn't get misadjusted or whatever you want to call it. So the first thing you want to do is actually loosen up each string. I'm going to loosen up all the strings. So if you have a neck strap or silence deadening thing, I'm gonna take it off, throw it away. The next thing you want to do is loosen them up. And you don't want to loosen them up too much, just enough to where you have a little give and they won't shoot up at your face whenever you loosen them up or cut them with the pliers. Also, if this is your first time doing this, try to remember which way you're turning the knob, because that is the way you're going to be turning the knob, the opposite way to tighten it. So remember to keep that in mind. So the strings are loose. All right. So the next thing you want to do is get a pair of your pliers. You can either do it this way, like I said, or the reason why I do this way is because I'm gonna get the strings off, and I don't want to be cutting the strings when they have tension, because if you cut them when they have tension, they're gonna fly and could hit your eye and stuff. So this is why I loosen them up first and then I cut them. So after you cut them, my pliers are a little dull, so that's why it was a little hard to take them off. But you can either take them off from this end or the other end. So I'm gonna take off from this end. And you just gotta be careful with your actual hardware here. The actual machine knobs, you don't wanna actually mess them up. If they're loose, tighten them. Don't tighten them too much, because obviously they're at a spec, right? So you're gonna get all your old strings off. And if it's your first time doing this, please make sure that you take a picture of how they were before. So make sure you keep that in mind as well. So you take your old strings, and then you can do here is ravel them up like this. But just be careful, because these are sharp. So the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get the bottom portion of the strings out, and you're gonna push them through. If your bass is this way, you're gonna push them through. If not, then you pull them out the other way. Again, this is how mine is. Yours could be different. And you're just gonna take all of these strings out. And like I said, I'm gonna be cleaning my actual bass off. So that's why I'm taking them all off. If you were just gonna replace the strings and your bass was actually clean, you wouldn't have to do it this way. You would just take off one at a time. That way, like I said, you wouldn't loosen the tension on the actual tension rod. Each bass and guitar has a tension rod, as y'all may know already, has a tension rod. So if you loosen the tension on it from the strings, it could bend it and you could lose the tension that it had on there set. So just keep that in mind. So the next thing you want to do, now that you got your strings off, is you want to go ahead and wipe it down. I'm going to use a microfiber towel, and just make sure you don't use like some rough towel that is going to mess it up. So especially because it's wood and you don't want to damage it. You just wipe it down. It doesn't have to be something extra fancy. Now I'm going to show you some pictures of some bass that is caked with like oxidation and like sweat, you know, it happens to everybody. Everybody gets sweat in their hands, but sometimes you let it get out of hand and it gets caked on there. So on those cases, that's where you want to just make sure that you actually clean it. And just go ahead and go through each of these. I've seen another video on YouTube that shows a guy use a steel wool, super fine steel wool, and he recommends that, and he's from the actual Elixir, the string company, and that's what they recommend using to clean your actual frets. But I'm just wiping it down with a towel, and mine's pretty clean because I keep it clean for the most part. So you just get like every nook and cranny that you can clean, or just wipe down with the towel. And if there's, like I said, if there's any spots in there that you want to actually clean more into, or maybe your base is a little dirtier than mine, go ahead and just do it. But it should look something like this. So after you wiped it down, you want to go ahead and put your strings on here. And like I said, you should have a memory of how you're going to put your strings on. I'm actually going to put my strings on like they were from the bottom of the actual base, and fish them out through the top, because I feel like it gives it a better tone, and the actual sound of the strings stays there. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it just stays there longer and it holds the actual tone that I like. So I'm going to do it that way. Like I said, I'm going to use the Elixir nickel plated steel strings. These are the ones that I've used on most of the gigs that I've done, the services that I played in. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this. And another string that I've used, I'll put it on the description below. But if you purchase that string with that link, the affiliate link, it'll actually help me out. So keep that in mind. So what you want to do is, once you actually bring the string over and it's sitting on the actual placement where you want it on, what you want to do is you want to measure about a knob and a half. That's where I usually get it at, to like actually measure the string. That's where you want to cut it, because these are actually come a little longer than you want. You don't want to you don't want to put all the string in this knob. So I'm gonna count like 1.5 maybe right there. And what I'm gonna do, the way I learned it, and it actually works, is you're gonna bend it. You're gonna bend it at that 1.5 mark, and you're gonna, once you have it bent like this, you're gonna want to cut it at the bend. So the reason you want to cut it at the bend is because, like I said, the string comes wrapped with a steel, right? So if you were to just cut it, it could unravel faster. And I just found that this way it's a little better to hold that tone. That string keeps that tone longer for some reason. I guess because it just pinches it. So what I'm gonna do is, like I said, I'm gonna cut it right at the bend with your pliers. And watch your eyes. You're gonna take this part off, and this one you dispose of. Okay, so now that you've cut it, you're gonna get your other end and you're gonna put it inside. My bases might be different than yours, but mine has an actual a whale, like a little hole in there where you can put the actual string. So it goes in there. Once you actually go in there, you gotta remember the way that you actually tighten it. And one important thing you want to do is that once you put it in there, you turn it, and you want to make sure that once you actually tighten the actual knob, that the string, as you're tightening it, stays under that part. You don't want it to be over, because that once the string goes under it, it's being pushed down by the actual string itself. You'll see it. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it. Tighten the knob. And the second time around, I want it to be under that tight. you want it to be under where you started. That way the string itself pushes down on it. And this is very important, like towards the end, whenever you have your string actually in tune, then you'll notice that it just stays better that way as well. And I'll show you another trick that I do to actually keep the tone of the string longer. So I'm gonna finish doing this one, and I'm gonna start the other ones as well, the other strings, and I'm gonna show you the next step. That's something that I also do. So I finished putting all the strings in. It's cleaned, wiped down. Also make sure that you pinch this down right here or push down on these when you're actually putting the string on. That way it doesn't loosen up a little more than it should. These have a fair amount of tension, not too tight, not too hard on there. What you're gonna want to do, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, is you're gonna want to like put your hand, and then you're gonna want to put your thumb and kind of stretch the string, each string out. You're gonna want to like do this because, you know, as soon as you tune the bass, it's gonna want to lose tune as soon as you start playing it again. So you want to make sure you do this and then actually get through each string. Make sure you tune it, do it again, tune it, do it again, tune it, do it again. That way it's actually good. And then after that, you're done. You're done putting your new strings on there. And like I said, all the strings are gonna be good. They're not gonna be on there too. They're not gonna be sticking out. You don't have to cut anything, but some guitars, like, they still have some that sticks out, so just cut them. But that's what I do. This is the way I do it, and it keeps it clean. You don't have to worry about any extra stuff. I'm gonna put the strings that I used in the description below, and you can use the link that I shared with you, so that way you can actually purchase and help the channel out. So as a bonus, I'm also gonna show y'all how to fix the strap knob. Mine's loose, so every event I was playing at, it kept coming loose, and that's like the most frightening thing as a bass or guitar player, is for your strap to come loose. So I'm gonna show you how to fix it, how I fix it, again, how I fix it, and hopefully it works for you. So the first thing you need is a screwdriver. Like I said, you're gonna need like a toothpick. So the first step you want to do is actually loosen this up. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, and you're gonna want to take it off all the way. So there's your knob, set it aside, and then right here in the hole, you can either break off a piece, like a tiny piece of the toothpick itself, and then you're gonna place it in to the hole. And if that piece is like too small, then just put a little bigger piece on there. If you want to put some glue in there, you can, or some adhesive, you can. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna put some in there and then call it a day. But you're gonna take your screwdriver again, and you're gonna carefully, slowly tighten that screw back on, and it should give you a tension now. And when you feel it get tight, that's when you know it's to the bottom. It has bottomed out. there you go. It's tight. It's not gonna come off anytime soon, and if it does, then I recommend you take it into a specialist so they can actually get it fixed professionally. So make sure if your knob is loose on your strap, you give this a try before you actually like go crazy and do something else and mess it up all the way. You can also leave the actual wood in there and with the glue overnight and then put the knob on there, but I just didn't want to be doing that. So we just fixed our knob, changed our strings. If this helped you in any way, go ahead and give it a like, leave a comment what you would do different, or what some of the tips that you would do different. Share it, because I know there's a lot of people that are like wondering how to change the strings. It doesn't have to be a bass player, it could be a guitar player, like I said. So share that with your friends, even if they're not musicians, at least learn something new, right?